Hey, what's up guys? Ethereum is on the verge of breaking out higher. In this video, I will explain bullish signals of Ethereum, then Vitalik Buterin will give his most recent update on Ethereum 2.0. The entire cryptocurrency market has been fluctuating sideways for the past few months. However, if I look at the performance year to date, Bitcoin has only gained 31%, which isn't that bad compared to other asset classes such as gold, that gained only 20% year to date. Or even stock market that is still in negative territory in the same time frame. The second most popular cryptocurrency, Ethereum, has much better performance in 2020, even better than Bitcoin. If we look at the ETH comparing to USD, in January, one ETH was trading at around $133 per coin, and now it's close to $240. That's more than $100 gains, or if it turned into percentage, that would be 80% gains year to date, outperforming Bitcoin and other asset classes by far. Addition to that, I have reason to believe that ETH will continue to carry strong performance in the foreseeable future. If you look at this chart that represents ETH versus Bitcoin ratio since the beginning of 2020, this chart is forming some sort of ascending triangle patterns, and we might see a breakout in ETH price comparing to Bitcoin. Who knows how big or small breakout might be? In March, one ETH was trading for only 0.028 of a Bitcoin. That's less than 3% of entire Bitcoin. In May, we had the Bitcoin halving, and that ratio slightly dropped to 2.6% of a Bitcoin. And just recently, we had a small breakout, and if the momentum continues, the upside will go much higher. This is not all. Let's zoom out a bit and look at the bigger picture. This is the same ETH versus Bitcoin chart, just in a longer time frame since 2016 to the current date. These are the type of charts that I really like. The price of ETH is comparing to Bitcoin looks suppressed, and it looks like there isn't much of a downside from here, and the upside is huge. As someone said, take care of the downside and the upper side will take care of itself. This is what we can call it, a potential asymmetric risk-adjusted return with a huge tailwind. In 2017 bull market run, ETH was able to gain as high as 15% of the entire cryptocurrency market comparing to the current 2.6%. If right now ETH will be able to get 15% of the single Bitcoin, the price of one ETH in USD would be $1,500. But of course, I do not see this happening unless if we see some massive altcoin season, where top leading altcoins will grasp market shares from Bitcoin. Something similar we already have seen in 2017, where Bitcoin dominance dropped to 37% while ETH increased till 31%. This was the closest time where ETH could flip Bitcoin, but since then, Bitcoin took its crown back and kept it ever since. The current Bitcoin dominance is at around 64% of the entire cryptocurrency market, while ETH takes slightly less than 10%. Besides ETH technical analysis, there are lots of development is currently happening behind the scene. Just a few days ago, Vitalik Buterin had an interview on Cointelegraph where he gives the most recent update about Ethereum 2.0. And also he discusses the time frame when will ETH 2.0 finally come to life. Let's take a look what he said.
I mean, I've definitely always been more focused on the research side and kind of the earlier half of the pipeline. Though I do think that Ethereum 2.0 has made like a lot of huge progress in the last couple of years, and like you can clearly see how it's moved from being a research project to being a development project, right? Like we now have the Altona multi-client test network, and we're going to have phase 0 kind of coming out on mainnet fairly soon. So ETH2 is by itself has definitely switched from being a research task to being a development task. And so, in terms of what that means, I'll end up being focused on. And there's definitely still some things, but it's more kind of a bunch of things in different places, I guess. Right now, on the Ethereum 2.0 side, we obviously already have the Altona multi-client test network, which is the kind of running with mainnet parameters. In a few weeks, we expect to launch another test network, and that test network will just have some kind of updates in terms of like basically the user experience will be kind of basically the same as we plan it to be on mainnet in basically every way, and a couple of kind of fairly small upgrades. So one more test network. If the test network runs smoothly for some amount of time, the next milestone is, of course, Ethereum 2 Phase 0 launch on mainnet. And that's definitely looking within the 6-month window. And then after that, I mean, there's obviously phase 1, but phase 1, which includes not just a proof of stake, but also like starts to include sharding for data. That's looking definitely outside of the 6-month window at this point. Outside of ETH2, I think it's also important to mention, first of all, ETH 1.x, so stateless clients, kind of different state management strategy as kind of shorter term Ethereum upgrades, and continued ongoing work, some things coming in the next 6 months, some things not. So that's a kind of parallel track. Also layer 2 protocols. So we have ZK rollup already, right? So on mainnet, we have Loopring and we have ZK Sync. And those are rollups for trends. Loopring is a decentralized exchange and does payments. ZK Sync does payments. And so those two can both do, well, roll-ups in general can do theoretically up to somewhere around 2,000 to 300,000 transactions per second on the Ethereum network. And that's a kind of load that's theoretically achievable today if everyone switches to these roll-ups. But the weakness of ZK rollups right now is that they're only good for like a very small number of specific use cases. So payments and token transfers and DEX is like probably the biggest ones. But if you want like general purpose EVM smart contracts, you probably want to look at optimistic rollup. And optimistic rollup, it's definitely looking very hopeful that we'll see optimistic rollups in a 6-month window as well. So carefully watch the teams that are doing that too. Okay, so for the first question, yes, Ethereum 2 is a proof of stake system, and Ethereum 2 Phase 0 is kind of the start of Ethereum's switch to proof of stake, which will take multiple stages, but Phase 0 launching is the first stage. As for multiple curve support, there are EIPs that are in progress to add support for more curves. The basic challenge is that it's a kind of trade-off of, I guess, functionality versus, I guess, complexity. So the existing, I mean, there's a lot that you can already do even within just, the BN128 curve that's supported on Ethereum already. But if we support other curves, then you can do kind of depth 2 and potentially depth 3, kind of recursive snarks. And there's a lot of value in those kinds of constructions, especially if you want to get privacy and scalability at the same time, which is something that, like, for example, I know Aztec has been doing a lot of hard work on. So I definitely, it's something that we are kind of working towards. It's just a question of priorities at this point, right? Like, I think the main reason not to focus on it is basically just because, like, people really want scalability and they really want ETH2 and they want kind of relief from high transaction fees and so forth. And so, like, those things are definitely higher priority for us than kind of supporting some like kind of advanced elliptic curves in more optimized ways. But like, we have a large team, and there's people that have been very actively pushing that forward as well. So things that I'm excited about, Ethereum 2 Phase 0, definitely, ETH 1.x, definitely, and including, EIP 5059 and all of that stuff. Rollups, ZK rollups, and optimistic rollups. Better privacy tools is another one that's coming. So I think those are probably the big ones, but there's a whole bunch of different things coming down the pipeline.
According to Vitalik, Ethereum is planning to release a test network in a few weeks. If the test network runs smoothly for some amount of time, then they will launch Phase 0 of Ethereum 2.0. Also, Vitalik gave a 6 months time window, so within 6 months, we should be able to see initial launch of Ethereum 2.0. Besides Ethereum 2.0, they currently can implement optimistic rollups, which is essentially a layer 2 scaling solution, and rollups projected to conduct between 2,000 and 3,000 transactions per second. Just to give you a quick recap what the roadmap to Ethereum 2.0 will look like. First is Phase 0 Beacon Chain. The first step towards Ethereum 2.0 revolves around migration towards the entirely new blockchain, the Beacon Chain. The Beacon Chain is a bedrock for Ethereum 2.0 as it includes the initial proof-of-stake implementation along with several features which act as a basic infrastructure to allow for sharding in the future. As Vitalik mentioned in the interview that Beacon Chain should be launched within 6 months. Phase 1 Basic Sharding. Following the implementation of Beacon Chain, Phase 1 will introduce the basic sharding structure. Generally speaking, this phase in combination with the Beacon Chain will drastically improve the throughput of the network and is a major milestone of scalability of Ethereum 2.0. However, considering this is a basic sharding implementation, there will be no state execution, i.e. smart contracts. The Beacon Chain will be mainly responsible for ensuring the construction, validating nodes, and consensus of the data within these shards. Phase 2 Sharding with EVM. Phase 2 is when Ethereum 2.0 truly will shine. The Phase 2 introduces account balances, smart contract execution, and other abstraction into the network. The biggest improvement in Phase 2 includes the integration of EWASM, or Ethereum WebAssembly, which is the next specification of Ethereum Virtual Machine. Ethereum WebAssembly will enable fast code execution and provide an improved developer experience. The main development attraction of Ethereum WebAssembly is the ability to write smart contracts in C, C++, Rust, and Go, along with access to existing WebAssembly developer tools. Phase 3 and beyond. Light clients, cross-shard transactions, super-quadratic sharding, and more. Unfortunately, anything beyond Phase 2 is largely speculative, as there is a little solidified information surrounding this phase. This phase would add a handful of features which will tie up the bow on Serenity and deliver the full scalable network that originally was envisioned. Let me know what do you guys think about Ethereum price and Ethereum 2.0. Will there be Phase 0 within 6 months? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below, hit that like button and subscribe.